Welcome to the One-Stop Dragon Shop Workshop, where we give you the tools to unleash your creativity and flourish. I am author Lady V.
And I'm author Alice Brown.
And today we are going over, I want to be traditionally published, but have been rejected. What do I do now? This is a big one.
This is. All right. First of all, sit down, take a deep breath. Your life is not over. I promise you, you have plenty of other options. We're going to delve in first as to possibilities of why you were rejected and how it may not have a thing to do with you at all or your work. So let's get into it. First of all, there are only 5 main publishing houses in the USA. 5. That's it.
Which, if you think about it, that really isn't fair to the amount of books that get published every year and consumed.
Very true. Now, these 5 publishing houses do have numerous subsidiaries under them. But when it all comes down to it, there's only 5 main houses. Out of those 5, you have to remember that first and foremost, they are a business. Just like any other corporation, they are a business. And what is the number one thing that corporations or businesses want to do? Have to do?
Make moolah.
Make money. So if they look at your book and they cannot immediately see dollar signs, quite often they're not even opened up. And that is just the hard truth. If you get a rejection letter within an hour of you sending your book, your information off, I promise you they never even opened it up. It was a standard rejection letter of just, nope.
They've met their quota. They're not looking to take anybody else.
They have a certain amount of editors and, people that work with authors. Those people can only take on a couple of new writers every year. Yet they literally get hundreds of submissions a day. Twilight is a great example. Twilight, they dug out of the garbage can. That is a well-known story. It was literally plucked out of the garbage can. It was rejected.
Stephen King's Carrie was another one that was turned down numerous times before it got published.
So don't just immediately think, I'm not good enough, because quite often that is not it at all. It has nothing to do with your work. It's just a matter of they cannot see immediate dollar signs, so they're not interested. Plain and simple. Don't think your life's over. You have options, and we're going to get into that.
One of the things that you can do to really help along your progress to getting an agent or a publisher, and this goes for your big-time publishers or even your B-grade publishing houses, are to make sure that your book is in tip-top shape before you submit. Now, this can include if you want special details in your book, so if you want artwork in your book, maps, special chapter headers, fonts, journal entries even.
Page breaks,
yes. Scene breaks.
Scene breaks.
You're going to need to put that in your book first. The days are long gone of thinking that you just write the book and then hand it over to an editor, a formatter, or an agent, and they're going to take care of the rest. No, sorry, that's not how it's done. I have been in contact with numerous other authors. I've dealt with agents myself, and if you want your book to get noticed, you pretty much have to have it ready to go on a shelf. It has to be ready and formatted to be placed on a bookshelf at Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, Target, wherever books are being sold. Because that helps visualize to the agent or the publisher what it's going to do, what the reader is going to experience when they pick up that book. Are they going to be immersed? Are they going to go, oh, this book is so worth $16.99 or whatever price that they deem your book be charged. So if you have special ideas for your book, you want, you're writing a fantasy book and you want a map in the front of the book, you're going to need to go ahead and learn to format that into your manuscript. Same with any images that go into your book or fancy journal entries, chapter breaks. make sure you take the time to learn the details on formatting. And I do have plans to go over that in a later video on this channel. It'll be much longer video than one of these, but it will be coming. There is a lot that goes into formatting. I can speak from experience here that Alice does not get involved in any of that.
No.
And she knows to leave me alone for about a week when I go into the editing cave, in the formatting cave.
Alice is lucky enough to be able to write it and then hand it over, because she hands it over to Lady V, who does all my formatting and then editing and stuff like, well, not all the editing, but definitely the formatting for me.
Yes.
Adds all the special effects, all that good stuff.
It can seem daunting at the time, having switched from writing your book to now you have to add in all these images and these details, and it's not the easiest when learning and can be daunting. But I promise you, once you get the hang of it, it is actually relatively easy, and it is so worth it in the long run. To be able to hold your book in your hands and go, I did that. I put that detail in there. I did that. That's me.
Well, as you will learn in a future video that we've got planned coming up in the next couple weeks, an author wears many, many hats. It's not all just write a book and move on. It's not about that at all.
They often used to say that moms wear many hats. In a lot of ways, when you're an author, you're still a mom. You're like the mom of authoring.
Yes, very true. That's kind of a good thing. Even after that book is in tip-top shape, everything is formatted, you've had 50 people go back through checking your grammatical errors and all like that, and it is just picture perfect. It's still, again, if somebody cannot see immediate dollar signs, there's a good chance you're going to get rejected. We ourselves know a couple authors who have been writing for years, 10 plus years.
10 plus years, and they just now have gotten picked up by publishing houses.
And one openly states, Emma Hamm, she has been in six figures for a while now. She just got picked up by a publishing house, just now. She's been doing independent self-publishing all this time.
And she is a wonderful example of somebody who takes the time to put details into her books. She is another wonderful example. I know that she commissions out for a lot of her artwork, but she is somebody who self-publishes her Merman series. I cannot think of the Waters of the Deep, I think is what it is. I'll put the title up on the screen because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Fantastic series though. But she has special editions that she gets printed elsewhere, and they have sprayed edges, they have French flap covers. They are beautiful. Even foiled text, or foiled fonting on the front cover. They are a work of art, absolutely work of art. So this is achievable as you, for even being an independent indie author. You don't have to be with a top 5 publisher to have these special effects. That is the beauty of the era that we live in these days, is that if you take the time to learn these crafts, to learn these tools, you can achieve greatness with your books and make an absolute masterpiece.
Well, I know with the top 5, it's very hard to get them to agree to all these special effects because it costs them money.
Especially on a newbie author that they haven't even published yet.
Yeah, so they have no idea if they're going to get their money back, and if it's too risky, they won't do it.
Somebody like Emma Hamm, they know that they can put that effort because she herself has already built up her fan base.
And so her fan base is going to follow her, whether she's self-publishing or traditionally, and they know that. These companies know that, which is part of the reason why she was picked up, is because she's a sure bet, and they know it.
Another good example is Elise Kova. She is somebody else who has been writing for 10 plus years. She's just recently got picked up by a publisher, and she's somebody else who has put in the effort in numerous of her books to make them specialty. And again, a publisher is going to snatch them up and take a chance on them because they know that she has a following.
Exactly.
If you want to go down the traditional route, the best advice I can give you is to build your fan base yourself. Do not anticipate just being able to write a book, hand it over, and everything else comes later. That is not the case. In the video we go over on the many hats an author wears, you are going to have to do 90% of the legwork to get where you want to with your publishing career.
Very true. Okay, so let's say you've been rejected. Where do you go from here? Because you still have options. As Lady V said, you have two options. You can either look at what we call a B publishing house, which is quite often they're ran by authors themselves. And so I would say, first and foremost, be very careful who you trust.
Yes.
I'm not saying that they're all bad, but there are bad ones out there.
We've been through 3 in the past.
We have. We really have, which is why we do everything ourselves now.
Well, the other thing is I do not really see a lot of benefits with a B publisher. As an indie author, you still have to do the majority of the work yourself.
As a newbie, if that work is unattainable or you feel it's too stressful, you can't get it down pat, I can understand why people would choose to be.
I would agree with that.
But please know that when you go through a publisher, whether it's the top 5 or a B publisher, that book technically no longer belongs to you. And that is something you've got to take in consideration. Let's take Amazon, for example. That book is going to be an ebook format. It's going to go out on Amazon. Do you realize that Amazon does not owe you any information on that book? They talk to your publisher. Now, if you are self-published, then yes, they owe that information to you. But if you go through a publisher, all information, all communication is between Amazon and that publisher. So you are relying on that publisher to be honest and to pay you what you are, what you have made.
Earned.
Yeah, what you've earned. This is where a lot of problems come in because there's not a whole lot of legalities that you can fall back on. It's very hard to, if you feel like you've been taken advantage of, not paid correctly, whatever have you. Because let's say this publisher that you're with has 15 authors under them that they're publishing their books for. Amazon is going to send them a list all in one page of each person, each author, how many books have sold, their royalties, whatever. So that publisher cannot just turn around and hand that information out to everybody, because then all 15 authors are going to know what everybody makes, and that's not really fair, and you don't want to do that as a business. So you are relying on that publisher to go, okay, Alice, your Vampires Among Us, you sold 6 copies this month, and Amazon kept this, and per our agreement we're keeping this amount, and so we're paying you the remainder. The thing I'm trying to make you understand is you have no proof you sold 6 copies or you sold 60 copies. It's something to think about.
Hi.
And we're about to get interrupted by Guardian.
It's okay.
But that's fine. But you do have the option of a B publisher. Just be very careful on who you trust. And if that does not sound like something that you really want to go through, you also have self-publishing. Self-publishing, as Lady V has said before, is a lot of work because everything falls on you. Your cover, your formatting, your all advertising, which pretty much all advertising falls on you anyway, no matter who you go with, but that's for a later video.
That is most definitely a later video.
But the benefit to going self-publishing is you hold all rights to that book.
You can be the little control freak that you are.
Exactly. You can put in whatever you want. You don't have somebody standing over your shoulder going, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go the extra mile for you because we don't know if we can make our money back or not. You are able to do that yourself. And that is the beauty of self-publishing.
To learn all those tricks that we will go over later on how to put on those special details in your book is a bit grueling in the beginning, but it is so satisfying. And you have to remember, if you go through a B publisher, even if they offer that, they're most likely not going to offer all the details that you want to go into, because then they'd have to offer that to other authors that they publish. But B, they too are authors themselves 90% of the time, so They're not really going to want to put special detail in your book that doesn't go in their book.
Yeah, there is a very definite problem with B publishers where another author actually owns that publishing house, and that is, I promise you, they are not going to want to see any author make more money than themselves. It's just kind of how we're wired, unfortunately. So we hope you enjoyed this week's video.
And until next time, have a great day. And today's video is brought to you by Pony, because even autistic kitties need their support. Hi. You want Pony?
Otherwise, I don't know what we're talking about.
And then I'm going to say
Yeah.
I still feel like I have a hair stuck somewhere.
Because you probably do.
Yeah. Cat hair.